You said something so cool. You said, maybe my name could get lost. And I think it's so interesting that, your name is Isa, which means Jesus in Arabic. From an
Hmm.
Islamic tradition, we believe to the world the name of Christ lives on, but who he was is actually lost. I
Yes.
think it's a very interesting juxtaposition there. Is there a story or yeah, is there something about Christ and his life that to you find, I don't know, something you really resonate with, seeing that it's your name?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely kind of looked into that quite a bit. The original story, in Surah Maryam, the story of Christ, of Jesus, of Isa. Um, and it's very interesting to me. I remember when I was little, there was a khutbah. My dad told me this story. I was about 3 years old, maybe four, and there's a khutbah, and this was the first. It was about Isa alayhi salam. This is the first time that and he noted. My dad noticed this was the first time I was like paying attention, and so he goes to me and he's like, "Did you like the khutbah?" And confidently I say, "Yeah, he was talking about me." Um, but I think what really resonated to me when it comes to the story of Isa is that despite all of his miracles, I think he had, aside from Sulaiman alayhi salam, he had some of the most miracles in the Quran. He did so many of these crazy things that, or maybe crazy isn't the right word, but just very
Miraculous.
miraculous. Yeah, thank you. And yet he had so few followers in his lifetime. And to me, that just kind of shows that, if people are going to be misled or um, aren't going to necessarily be with you on something, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. There's that
Yeah.
verse from the I'm sorry if I forget if it's I think it might be a hadith, but where the I believe the Quraysh had asked the Prophet ﷺ for like a mountain of gold to appear, and he said, and then Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said, like they would still disbelieve even after that, and it'd be worse for them because then they would see certain signs of
Mm.
and still disbelieve. And that's one thing that I've thought of a lot.
Yeah, no, this is a really, really cool thing you mentioned because there's this film on Van Gogh called At Eternity's Gate,
Mhm.
starring Willem Dafoe.
Really,
And Van Gogh, I don't know if you're familiar with his life, but
yeah,
everybody
very
around him, they
sad.
just thought his art was trash, and it's ugly. And there's
Yeah,
a scene in the film where a priest visits him, played by Mads Mikkelsen, and he says, like this is ugly stuff. Like, why are you doing this? And Van Gogh in the film is like, well, why would God create me to paint ugly things? Maybe what I create is not for these people. It's not for this time. It's not for this generation, but
yeah,
perhaps it's for another time, another generation, another people. And he relates this to the story of Christ. And he's
yeah,
like, for so many years, like even after Christ vanished, people didn't really talk about him or believe in him. It wasn't until years later where, they took an interest in him.
yeah,
So I think it's very cool that you said that because it also ties into art. Like
yeah.
you never know. You never know where it's gonna, what time or what place it'll be for.